Okay, so Maxwell, you're the first person on the podcast. How does it feel?
Oh, it's a pleasure, Murat. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm super excited to have you on, man. I think it's gonna be a great little talk.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be sick.
And I think people will enjoy it. So we don't know if we're releasing this first yet, but definitely we'll be releasing it
At some point in time.
at some point in time,
Right.
pretty soon. We're not sure
Ideally.
when, and ideally pretty soon. So first thing I want to get into is just do a quick intro of what sort of your main aspirations are and what your main focuses are right now, what you've been working on.
Okay.
So you're an actor.
I'm an actor. I've been acting for, I say 7 years, but that's without really doing much.
Fair enough. So when did you start?
I started going in very end of grade 6.
Very end of grade 6. And what was your first, why did you start? Who's the person that told
It was
you?
my dad. He put me in acting lessons when I was like 3 to 5. Put me in when I was like 8, and I didn't really like it. And then I don't know. He got me my agent without me even knowing.
Which is like something like, we should just probably say this. Most people.
It's tough to get an agent.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And I guess we didn't really have to go through the struggle of it ourselves.
Right. No, we both got when we were quite young.
Yeah, good agents too.
Yes.
Which is even tougher.
Yeah, so you had an agent, and this was, how old were you when you had your first agent?
I was 11.
You were 11 years old. Do you remember your first audition?
It was it was a movie called Sex and Sunsets.
Okay. And you didn't book it.
No,
but you
I
remember
got a coach and stuff, and it was
a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
I was bragging about it.
And you weren't in fine arts school, so we met in Langley Fine Arts School, and to give some background,
right?
We met there, and we made a bunch of short films together. We were in video together.
Did,
and we did
Zoom Fest, BC Student Film Festival. Film classes where we really talk because we both love movies.
That's right. So that's sort of how we got to know each other, was through filmmaking and stuff like that. So at that point, when you had first gotten your agent, you weren't in fine arts school, were you?
I was.
You were?
Grade 6.
Oh, so this is grade 6.
Yeah.
That's the year that you got in.
Yeah.
So were you going to a bunch of auditions in grade 6?
Not really. Well, the industry was down at that point.
Right, in Vancouver.
It was down from grades like 6 to 8.
Okay.
I'd say. That's what my agent said, and I didn't really get many. No.
Okay. So, but
once every couple months.
Okay, which is nothing for people that are in acting. So it's not very much. That's not that much, guys.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm not peeking. So not very many auditions at all, but you were in the drama program. So you did a lot of theater. So it's not like you weren't doing acting.
Right.
You were doing it every day. That's his phone. He's a busy guy. There's a bunch of auditions.
Bezos. I'll answer that.
Right.
Later.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg's on Snapchat apparently.
Yeah, no, theater, fine arts was, I think we're both very grateful to have gone to an art school like that. With programs like they did, because instead of academics, you'd major in arts, and there's the 4 main ones, drama, music, dance, and like visual arts. And then grade 11, 12, there's writing and photography.
Right, and you starred in 2 productions in the theater, right?
Yeah, we do old plays, theater plays. We did Some Like It Hot, which is an old Marilyn Monroe thing. I played Joe in that, opposite her buddy Ben. He played the other guy. And we did Peter Pan, and I got to be Peter Pan, which was pretty cool because I'd be flying in, it's like trapeze.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really neat how you guys did that.
It was pretty sick.
So now back to the auditioning, back to the film and television acting. So you had been doing these auditions for years, and you hadn't really booked anything.
Not really.
Hey, you did a short film. What was the first thing? So what was the first set you were on, like a real set? Because he was Nintendo
music video.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. So how old were you when you did the Nickelback thing?
13, 14.
13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, what was that like?
It was interesting. The guy who directed a lot of like big. I think he did like Madonna stuff. He was like a pretty big music video guy, and it's the first time I saw like a red camera. I was like, that's insane. I was like, that's crazy. and it was a really smoky room. It was like super hot in there. I had a blazer on. Didn't actually get to meet Nickelback.
That sucks.
I saw the drummer in the hallway of the school we were shooting in. He didn't look at me.
Okay.
But it was a cool experience.
Cool experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
People found out at school.
Okay. What was that like? What was that like at school?
I heard it was played in the Spanish class.
Okay.
Without my knowledge,
And you weren't in that class? You were in Italian?
I was in the Italian class.
Okay, so they played it in Spanish class for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your first time on set. 13, 14, you booked something. You made some money.
Yeah.
Do you remember spending it on anything, or did you just save it?
DS.
A Nintendo DS.
Nintendo 3DS.
Which is an interesting segue into... I mean, I just really want to say this because this is big. This is big stuff. Maxwell became Nintendo's golden boy. What Casey Neistat is to YouTube, Maxwell was for Nintendo for...
I would say that.
I think I would say that.
Yeah.
It's like the Robert De Niro to Scorsese.
Yeah.
That's what you were to Nintendo.
Absolutely.
That must have been really cool. Did you get a bunch of free Nintendo stuff all the time being mailed to your house?
Yeah, no, I didn't actually. So the first Nintendo thing I booked was for a game called Super Mario Maker.
Right.
And
And that was at...
I must have been 14, 15 there.
Okay. So pretty...
And shot at Bridge Studios.
Okay,
really
cool.
Nice set, massive set.
For those of you that don't know
screen.
Bridge Studios, it's got the biggest soundstage in North America, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, huge studios in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think
it's one, if not one
Bridge
of the
Mammoth.
biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty big. Cool set, I reckon.
Oh, it was... Yeah, no, it was...
Describe the set of this.
It was massive. I don't even know. It was the entire soundstage, basically.
And it was just a full blue screen?
Yeah, blue screen, and they gave us a VR to imagine the...
Oh, so you could see what was happening.
The commercial, and the director was on a genie.
Okay, cool. So he's moving up and down and stuff.
Sick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. That must have been a super fun set to be on.
Yeah. No,
this was shortly after the Nickelback thing.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
I think it was the year after.
It was
I did
year
Nickelback
after.
in that one summer, and then I did Mario Maker.
Okay, and then again, you go back to school and people saw you on a Nintendo commercial.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say fame was... I feel,
no, you couldn't walk down the street without people, like 8-year-olds coming up to you.
It was in public, and yeah.
Yeah, they thought you were in the game, but you were just in the commercial.
I know. That was the part that struck me.
You probably thought you were in the game, too.
I did.
Yeah.
For a second. I did a couple other little commercials.
So which one? So you did the Mario Maker one, then you did Super Smash Brothers.
No, I did Mario Kart.
Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had Mario Kart in grade 12.
Okay, so you did... So that was pretty much most of your high school stuff.
Very beginning of 2018.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Mario Kart. Same director.
Yeah, and he recognized me.
That's cool.
I was like...
That's cool. Okay, so now... So that gives you... I mean, that's quite a bit of context for the acting stuff. Let's get into... Let's go deeper. Let's go.
Yeah.
So this is grade 12. I think for the people that are listening, if anyone's listening to this podcast, thank you so much. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's the goal.
That's the goal is for anybody. So, yeah. If there's like 3 people listening to this, that's sick.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. So because just from the perspective of everybody that we graduated with, I think everybody had a different experience of leaving high school. It's obviously what you know, what you're accustomed to. Right. And then all of a sudden,
it's like
everything.
Leaving the nest.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's you'd been doing the same stuff, every single year, every single day, every single week, looked pretty similar.
Yeah, for sure.
For many, many years. You graduate. What's your plan leaving grade 12? So you're in grade 12 right now. What are you thinking of the last 3-4 months?
The last 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to think about college.
Right.
I didn't want to think about it, like put any thought to it. So I missed the SFU, Simon Fraser University deadline for applications. Shirt a little bit. And I was like...
It's not the best.
Yeah. And then the last month of school, I tanked my grades.
Okay. Because you got pretty good grades throughout high school.
I had a 93 average, and it dropped to 80.
Why do you think that happened?
I just didn't care. I
just stopped caring?
Yeah.
No plan for after high school. I just know I don't want to go to school. Was that what it was?
I didn't want to think about it.
You didn't
want
want
anxiety if I like thought about university.
Because you didn't know what you
nothing I really want to do. And the only thing I could think of is business.
Just because, yeah.
Because you can do anything with business.
I guess, yeah. Okay. So you graduate. When did things start coming together? So you graduate and you weren't in school.
Not for a while.
Let's talk. Okay, so we both graduated. And there was the first time in the summer after I came back, I think I took a trip shortly after.
Right.
I didn't go to Mexico. No, okay, but I took like a road trip or whatever. So came back. What were you doing at this time in the summer?
Nothing.
Nothing. Literally just playing video games, or what do you mean by nothing?
Yeah, that's about.
Okay. Watching movies and stuff,
that's
or what?
About right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we're doing nothing. I remember, I mean, we both remember this.
I remember I asked you, I was like, do you want to grab a coffee or something?
We grabbed a coffee.
Yeah.
And we were both pretty, we were pretty confused.
We didn't know what we wanted to do, but we wanted to do something.
We knew, it's almost like the long-term stuff was sort of clear, but the short-term approach to it, we really had no idea. And by the way, neither of us were in school at this time. I took a couple courses, but that was after this, and you went to school after. But anyway, so we met up at the coffee shop. This is actually pretty interesting. So we met up, and we just talked about how we wanted to do something, but we didn't know how to approach it. And neither of us really had a plan of a
There was no guideline.
There was nothing. But I remember both of us being at this coffee shop at Starbucks, just being super frustrated and super I want to say scared.
We were motivated, but we were
really motivated, and I approached him with this project that I wanted to start.
Yeah, you did the marketing.
I did, yeah. It was a marketing company I was starting back then, and he was like, "No." You're like,
well, I just didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like
I didn't know.
Yeah, obviously, and I mean, at that time,
and you and Ethan.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have Ethan on the podcast.
Yeah,
and that was I mean, that's a different story, full of ups and downs.
Right, and that's your guys's.
Yeah, that's a long one, but yeah. So I said, "Do you want to start a marketing company? We can do videos for businesses and stuff, and get video producers and stuff." And that was just an idea because I wanted to work on something, at least in the meantime, as just a means of income as well. But that wasn't obviously the main thing we were trying to pursue. So after that, I remember we were going to IKEA a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Why did we go to IKEA so much?
We got this chair.
We got the chair. We got the desk.
Yeah, we got the desk.
That was it. But we went more than twice.
Yeah, for some reason.
We we had the hot dogs there quite a bit.
The dollar hot dogs.
The hot dogs there are really. They're not. I don't want to say good.
Which makes me. It makes me suspicious though.
Yeah.
For the dollar hot dogs.
It's amazing. I've never made anything for $1.
It's a feat.
They're quite. I don't want to say they're good.
They're good. I'd say they're good.
Yeah, and they're interesting. It just feels like you made it.
And we'd go downtown a lot.
We went downtown a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
More so towards the end of the year, I think.
Definitely went downtown a lot. And after that, that's when you decided to.
Well, so.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you take it away.
Around September, at the end of summer-ish, August, September, my buddy Cole, whose birthday is actually today. Him and Stephanie, happy birthday whenever this comes out. May 13th. So Cole, his dad runs this PJ company called Lazy One, and he got me a job at the Coquitlam Center Mall. And I remember setting it up with Cole, Penn, David, and we set this thing up, and I worked there for a bit. And it was
in Coquitlam,
for like a month.
Okay.
And then I worked at the Willowbrook Lazy One until the very end of December.
Right. And
working
that
retail
was
in a mall.
Working retail in a mall, which we both did, by the way.
Yeah.
I, until recently, didn't do it, and you up till like 3 months ago or so.
Yeah.
So we both did it. It was that we got to get into that after
harrowing experience.
Yeah, humbling. We'll get into that after. I think we definitely have to touch on that because it was an experience that neither of us had before. Why keep hitting this mic stand? But it's got like the suspensions on it. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm not getting it in my headphones. It's crazy. Anyway, shout out to Janu. This is Janu's mic stand thing. So yeah, humbling experience. But let's go back to. you were working at Willowbrook Mall, so you were doing the Coquitlam Mall. And
Yeah.
you'd never had a job before. Much like myself, I was working on this company that I was starting with Ethan, but I needed like a means. I mean, we were putting money into it. We were trying things. We were failing, losing money, obviously.
I never had a job.
Yeah, neither of us did.
Up until after graduation.
So what was the first job experience like for you? Regular job, because I mean, Super Mario
it was
commercials.
fun because it was with my buddy.
Right.
But
I'm having some trouble with the connection. Let's try again in a moment.
His serious Australian, which is, we gotta just admit, is really weird. It just doesn't make sense. There's no reason. There's no, you can't explain
so
that.
retail was it was interesting, you know? There's some characters for sure.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I feel like it's like an apocalypse, like zombies walking around the mall.
Oh my, we're gonna
Scary
get
at
sued for
times.
defamation. Definitely an interesting experience. So, but working the job at Willowbrook,
Yeah.
I mean, were you okay working at the store? Like, was it not, because it was with Cole, your friend?
Yeah.
So
It was
couldn't have
fun
been
when I
that
was with
bad
him, but
when you weren't.
it wasn't too busy, so he'd put me on shifts with myself because he had to go by himself.
Do you have any really funny retail stories that you can tell us? Any funny experiences? I mean, I know you do. I just don't remember any of them. There must have been a couple weird things. Okay, we could. There's that guy, the pyramid scheme guy, which. Man, this podcast is full of like anecdotes, man. This is gonna be great.
Mind you, we both
got. Yeah, we'll both tell the story.
Yeah.
I'll get into mine too. So let's talk about the time we both got recruited. Well, not
Oh, not
recruited,
recruited.
but like pitched
All
on
right,
this
so-
pyramid multi-level marketing.
So I'm this guy. I'm not in school.
He didn't know it was that, obviously.
I'm not in school. And this guy comes in with his wife, and they're pushing a little toddler. They come in.
Seems like a nice guy.
And the guy, he's like walk around and he beelines for the desk. And I'm like, what's up? He says, how old are you? Oh, I'm like, I think I was 17. I'm 17. He says, so what are you doing? You want to go to school? I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in like business. He said, business. And that's when that was like the
Multi-level
red
marketing.
light. That was like, he got that excited.
Business.
He was like, well, so you seem really bright. What's your name, Max? He said, Max, you seem really bright. If you'd like, you can meet with me and my mentor. We'd love to have a coffee with you.
Maxwell
And
texted me.
at this point, I didn't notice. The wife with the toddler, they were gone. I didn't see them leave.
They were actors.
It was like hired
The
actors.
toddler was in the pyramid scheme.
So I go to the Starbucks with them like a day later, and it's like some South African dude there, and he's like scam artist, and they're roping me in, and I'm like believing it, right?
First of all, can we just say you texted me right away?
I was so
I want to find
excited.
those texts, but you go, bro, capital B, capital R, capital O, send. Bro, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, he booked a bigger role or something. And I'm like, what? He's like, the craziest thing just happened. This is amazing. I can't believe this. Dude, you got to hear about this. Can I call you? Question mark. Yeah, this sounds crazy. I thought, yeah, put the hoodie on. Just like, this is nothing to be ashamed of, bro. We both took an L with something like this. Okay, so you call me.
Yeah,
And you go, I met the coolest guy ever.
I did.
The smartest
I
guy.
saw that.
He's going to introduce me to his mentor. I'm going to be a millionaire. And this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And in my head, I went, that's a pyramid scheme.
I would have. Okay, they wanted me to
I didn't
go to
tell him
a
anything, mind you.
recruitment seminar at
That
the
sounds
Pacific
terrible.
Academy. He's like, yeah, we got the speaker coming in and he speaks to a bunch of people. And I was like, this sounds sick. And he's like, bring a suit. And I was like,
That's sick.
Jesus, this is amazing. So I asked my dad. I go to my dad.
Bring
I'm
a
like,
suit.
I'm so excited.
Your
I'm like,
dad.
yo, there's this. It wasn't. They're like, there's a speech. This like world-renowned author, whatever. So I'm like, I'm bragging to him, and he goes, yeah, that's a pyramid scheme. And I was so pissed. He's like, you're not going to that. And I was just like, I knew he was right. I was like,
Puts the hoodie back on. That's terrible. That's really bad. So
It was interesting.
You went to the seminar?
I didn't.
You didn't.
He wouldn't let me.
He wouldn't let you.
Yeah. He didn't give me. I didn't own the truck until my birthday, and he gave it to me. And I was still 17 at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was your truck.
No, it was my dad's.
Okay. Cool. So, fair enough. So he's like, you can't use my truck.
Yeah.
Gonna have to bus there. Oh.
I've taken the bus once alone.
I used to take it in grade 11 before I got my license. And that was terrible. I remember being in the snow. And it was like 11:30, and I think I checked my phone. It was the last bus. I used to take the C62 bus to Fort Langley. And I remember it was snowing. And the last bus had just passed, and it was like 10 minutes early. And I had to call a cab. And I paid $20 for a 10-minute cab. That was a bad memory I have from transit. Anyway, a little parenthetical.
What about your multi-level
Oh, geez.
marketing?
Yeah, we got to get it. I guess we can't not talk about this. Okay. So, where was I when this happened? I was at Metrotown. And I was looking at clothes. And this guy comes up to me, and he goes, "Nice sweater." And I go, "Thanks." And he goes, "What is that?" And like I tell him, "Oh, it's this kind of sweater or whatever." He goes, "Oh, that's expensive." And I went, it's not really. It's just it is what it is. And he goes, "That's expensive." And I'm like, "All right." And he goes, "I'm looking for a sweater." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Fair enough." Like, I'm not. And he goes, "That's it." He keeps like complimenting my sweater. I'm like, "All right." He goes, "What do you do, man? What do you do?" And I went, "Well, I'm starting like a marketing company and I'm working part-time and stuff, but yeah." And he just goes, "That's sick." I'm like, "What do you do?" And this guy's like really excited. And I go, "What do you do?" And he goes, takes a beat. I have an e-commerce store, which is like the buzzword for an entrepreneur or someone that, likes business or whatever. It's like e-commerce. It's like Amazon.
E-commerce meaning anything bought or sold online.
Yeah. So I was like, "That's so cool." I'm like, "That's crazy." He goes, "Yeah, man." I'm like, "What do you do? Like, what do you sell?" And this is where I should have known something wasn't right. I didn't understand his business model from the e-commerce store. He goes, "Oh, we sell appliances, but in a way where you get cash back." Like, it was just weird. I didn't understand it. And usually, a business is pretty easy to understand. We make guitars and we sell them, or there's a car, and this was really confusing. I said, "That sounds interesting though." And he goes, "Dude, I know we should meet up." He's a young guy. He was like 24, 25. He's like, "We should meet up and just talk. Like, I want to hear about what you're doing." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds sick. Like, I want to hear about what you're doing." Like, I was thinking I could learn some crazy stuff from this guy, successful entrepreneur. And
right.
So he's like, "Yeah, let's meet at Starbucks or whatever. And we'll talk." I'm like, "That sounds sick." He was, I should add, like, he was a really convincing
Yeah, no, this
dude.
guy was like
it
actor.
wasn't like this guy was sketchy. Like, he was dressed really nicely, and he was very well spoken and very polite, handled himself really well, very confident. And I go, "This guy's sick. This guy's a successful like entrepreneur, and like he's doing what I want to do in a way." So he goes, "Yeah, let's meet at Starbucks or whatever." We meet, and I tell him about myself, or whatever, what I was working on, and he tells me about his business, and he goes, "I'm gonna retire my family at 27 or 28." And I'm like, "Why would you want to retire?" I guess for me, I'd want to be doing something that I love, that I don't want to retire from. Yeah. I want my work.
Doing what I want to do, right?
Exactly. So to me, that was a red flag. I was like, "This is so stupid. Why would you want to do that?" And look, to whoever wants to retire at like 60 or whatever, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, no big deal. Just for me, this didn't make sense. So I go, "Anyway, so movie recording has been stopped automatically. We're going to take a brief pause to reset that." Okay, so whoever has Canons knows this, and freaking shout out to Casey Neistat, because Casey Neistat made a video about this. He smashed his Canon in half because of this.
Yeah,
I like my Canon, obviously. That's why I have it. Shot a lot of movies on it and stuff, but once in a while, movie recording has been stopped automatically.
All right.
That's what happened. That's where the pause came from. We have the other angle that we can always use, but whatever. Back to the story. So I decided to meet this guy at Starbucks or whatever, and I thought I was going to hear about this crazy, like, come up story, and he was super successful. And I was like, sick. So we met at Starbucks. And, you know, yeah, like I said, so he got me to tell him about, you know, my life or whatever. What's your story?
Right.
And I go, oh, my story? Like, you know, everyone likes, especially was like, what's your story? It's like, well, I, you know, everyone likes,
sitcom up.
Yeah, whatever.
Inspirational.
Yeah, sure. And so he told me about how, you know, how he came up or whatever. And he said he didn't have much money growing up and his mom worked really hard, or she worked like a supermarket or something. And he met this guy, this mentor guy, and they always have mentors for some reason. And this guy set him up with this crazy business, and he taught him his ways of like passive income, which is
that's another
the hype word.
That's
a buzzword. Passive income. Sit at home and make millions. That's not real. I mean, unless you're like, I mean, I shouldn't say that's not real. I guess if you have a huge company, it's definitely real. But this guy definitely did not have sick passive income. So this guy was not at that level. He pitches me on this. I go, so sorry, what do you sell? Like, I don't understand. He goes, imagine if you could get paid for what you buy. Sorry? Imagine if you could get paid for what you're already going to buy anyway. It's like a point system. No. So here's what I do, okay? I connect people to people that are going to help them and profit. And in my head, I'm like, multi-level marketing. It's
right.
Like,
that's what
I
the guy
heard
said
Maxwell's
to me.
voice is like, it's like, yo. They call me like, yo. It was a pyramid scheme. That's what I heard in my head. I'm like, and I clowned him so hard for this too when this happened. I'm like, how did you fall for that? I'm like, you suck. And then I'm at Starbucks with a guy pitching me on the exact same thing.
You went as far as I did.
I went extreme. Yeah, I went super. Yeah,
it was matched.
Yeah, we went the same distance. We met these like clowns at these places, and so
that's when we learn. It's not that easy. It's never that easy.
Definitely isn't easy. And I mean, I must say we have made really good connections in similar ways. We might get into that after. I don't know. I don't know if we should get into that, but
yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he pitched me on this thing, and he goes, "Want to do it?" He puts out his handshake. I go, "No, that sucks." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Cause it's a terrible thing." I'm like, "That doesn't make sense." I'm like, "That's unsustainable."
I'm gonna lose money.
Yeah, I'm like, "That's not sustainable. That's terrible." And he's like, "I'm gonna retire my family at 26." I'm like, "That's great."
No, yeah, my guy, he said, instead of he thought he had some like eureka moment. He was like, instead of my kids going to school and learning about the war, I'm gonna take them to the war sites in Europe.
That's sick.
I was like, that's a waste of money, man. I'm like, I'm like, why would you do that? that doesn't make a whole ton of sense there.
Okay.
Like, you lost me at that point.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
It's like, I'm looking to retire at 26. He's like, I'm 25 right now. And I was like, so what? So what has been your monetary gain from, you know, this experience with the mentor? Because the mentor left. And this guy goes, he's like, no. He's like, it's not monetary. It's not monetary. It's not
okay, how are you gonna spend time in Europe, bud?
It's up here. It's knowledge. I'm like, where do you work? He's like, I was like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I build fireplaces. And I was like, yeah.
That's great.
Like, that's fantastic.
You should not be pitching me on this. Okay. He builds fireplaces.
And again, that should have been another red flag. I'm pretending like it was right now. It wasn't. I was like, okay.
That's sick.
It was until my dad told me.
You want to go to Europe for 5 years?
I was like, that's amazing.
Murat pulls out his phone. Sorry, let me text my friend. He's into business too. That's crazy.
I was talking to them about you.
Oh my God.
I was talking to them about you. I was like, yeah, I got my buddy. He works in the mall too. And he's and the guy was like, yeah, that's great.
That's sick. Where does he work? So we both got recruited at a mall. Not while I was working.
Well, no. Yeah, no, you weren't.
I was at Metrotown.
A mall.
I was at a mall. These guys work in malls.
We were both working at the same mall.
At least we didn't go further than the freaking meetup. But yeah, it's a pretty terrible story. So back to the mall thing. What are your main takeaways from working retail?
It sucks. It's a bummer.
It's a bummer. Why?
You gotta get up early.
Okay, well,
and I'd be late sometimes. Then it's just shitty.
What was the thing you learned there? What was the biggest takeaway? That you must have learned something. everything happens for a reason.
I don't want to work that side of business. I feel like that's the main takeaway there. There's not much. There's not a whole lot of stuff to take because a onesie store isn't that busy in September. It's not.
Yeah.
December,
one buys onesies
it was
then.
like hell on earth. It was 4 people working at once instead of 1. It was just people flooding in and out.
Yeah. I mean, so you worked at a PJ store.
It was a good. I love the company though. Like I've worked in their warehouse with Cole
Of
and
course,
all the boys,
of
but
course. It's nothing
just,
against any company like in particular. It's just
I think it's just that job.
Of course, and that goes for so many of those jobs, especially for us. Like we never had those, but
Like, I mean, never got used to it. Every single day.
No, me either, man. And like, so for me, I worked at a cell phone store, like selling cell phone contracts, which was like it's sales, so it's at least a learning experience or whatever. And yeah, only until recently did I quit. Sort of while I was setting up the company that I was working on for so many months of figuring out and failing and making money and then losing it, and so it took a while, obviously. So I mean, you need some sort of
you need something
stream
steady.
of income while you're doing it, because like totally the company was never steady. I mean, it was super up and down, scary.
It's new.
We'd make
under
8,000,
6 months
6,000.
old.
Yeah, so it was crazy. So I think my biggest takeaway from it, though, quickly, let me think. I think a huge one's just how rude people are to other people.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I
didn't know that people were like that.
I never even really noticed it.
I just noticed the way people talk to people is like,
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I don't know if it's the area or what, but no, people were really rude. Like, that's one of my biggest things. Like, I just didn't know people treated other people like that.
I didn't really find a lot of rude people.
Really? Interesting.
I feel like I'm like...
Maybe I shouldn't say rude, more like cold. Rude, everybody meets rude people, but like, just like, hey, how's it going? It's like, hey, so this is what I need. This is what I want.
Yeah, I guess. Well, because when you're behind the cashier, you're just like...
Yeah, I guess you're just
the
putting
next
them through.
step to getting their clothes.
Yeah.
Really, like,
what did you do?
I was like a cashier.
Okay.
Well, I stood behind the desk and I'd like stock it.
Okay.
And stuff.
Yeah, man, it was an experience. I mean, I know for us, it's
not the dream.
never having had one before, that was great learning experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world, though. For me, I don't know about you. I learned so much. There were so many great takeaways from it, and even though I was working on other projects at the same time, that was a great. It was a great learning experience, man. Like, just in so many ways.
I'd definitely trade it. For sure.
I would have rather been in Europe looking at war zones. I started a pyramid scheme.
Well, while I was working there was when the thing happened in the end of November.
We got to get it. Yeah, so this is where we're going with this. Now, this was a time... I want just give us a little bit, just before we give this away. Give us a little bit of context as to your mindset, your state. I mean, I know it wasn't awesome at this point in terms of how you were feeling about
the future. At that point, I just signed up for university for business for the spring semester, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was like, I'm just gonna ride this job out until it ends, and I'll start school. And I was like, acting's probably done for, because I didn't really go to auditions since I did the Mario Kart thing in January of last year. So you were going, damn, the thing that I enjoy doing the most may not really work out. I was going to quit it. And then my dad said, your headshots look like shit. They look terrible. Right. He's like, you're going to get these redone. Okay. And you're like, whatever. I was like, okay, I guess I'll get them redone. I'm like, I started wasting money. He's like, $300. I'm like, I started wasting money. Because I'm probably going to quit. Because when I start school, there's no way I'm going to keep doing it. Right. You're like, this is done. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. This sucks. So I get the headshots done. And then they turn out all right. They're pretty good. And the first audition I get after is for an episode of Supergirl. Right after you got... So this is his dad going, yo, Maxwell, your headshots look terrible. Let's get you new ones. You're like, why am I getting new ones? Right. Yeah, I'd be sick to be an actor, but... this is the real world. Yeah, I'm like, let's study business. Stop dreaming. Yeah. Stop being a kid. It's time to strap down, get a job. It's time to 9 to 5. Right. Okay.
not necessarily that far, but yeah. Talking to work in a cubicle for 45 years. That was his low point. Okay, so you get the audition.
I get the audition.
And how are you feeling when you get the audition? You're like, eh.
I'm like super. I'm like, that's sort of cool.
Okay, that's sort of
because
cool.
There's a lot of stuff shooting in Vancouver,
especially right now.
And
crazy.
Melissa Benoit accident. And she was in
Whiplash. One of our favorite movies. I know for me. I know for you.
Yeah.
I've seen it probably 7 times.
That'd be sick. So, not really thinking much. It was for like a military guy, and I go to the audition. I go, like,
you're like the lead guy of the military guy.
Like some lead tyrant.
You want to kill the main girl or
soldier
something like
guy.
That?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So I go up and I'm this army guy and I do it and I leave. And I'm about to head to Taiwan because I went to Taiwan for 2 weeks. I was going to go for 3 weeks.
So you went into the audition. This was a live audition, right? This wasn't a self-tape.
Yeah, with Sean and JJ.
Okay, right.
Say their last names.
Yeah, maybe not. So you go in. You feel pretty good about it?
I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I
didn't really know what to think about it. And then I booked it.
Okay, yeah. So you were at Lazy One. Are you working your job? This is sick.
I'm working at the mall, my Lazy One, and I get this call from my agent. And I see it, and it's so it's on like a Monday. I think it's a Monday I get the call. And I leave on Friday of that week for Taiwan for 3 weeks. And I get a call from T. And I told her I was leaving. And she says, hi. She goes, hi, Max. I was like, oh, what's up? She says, how long are you gone for your trip? I was like, oh, 3 weeks. She's like, can you make it 2? I was like, why? She's like, oh, because you booked Supergirl.
Didn't she say, because you're not, so you're not going to be able to make it to the
Yeah. She said, how long are you going for? And I was like, 3 weeks. She's like, damn, you just booked the Supergirl thing, but
I guess I have to regret.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm shooting that. Yeah.
Game-changing moment. I remember us going downtown. We were at a restaurant downtown talking about how much of a game changer.
Yeah, because
when that happened,
I wouldn't be acting right now if I didn't get that.
Right.
If I didn't book it that time, because I would have been gone to Taiwan for 3 weeks, gotten back mid-December. And then that's when the season shuts down for the winter, and then January would have started school right away.
Like you would have been just at school
right away,
and then no auditions.
If I booked something the week after, I wouldn't have done it.
Okay, this is crazy. So, some Alchemist stuff going on. Shout out to the Alchemist. Shout out to Paulo Coelho, man, for one of the best books. What's that thing in the Alchemist where they talk about that? Just for people to know.
Is that weird?
Like not Mach 2, but like that chapter where he gets. Something happens that inspires him to not give up or to do what he's supposed to do.
Right.
Do you remember when that happens?
Which one was it?
When they give you a taste of like, in The Alchemist, they give the main kid in it, like a taste of the treasure.
Oh, the piece of the...
Yeah, gold? Or I don't know. Like, do you remember at the beginning where he meets the guy and he sort of gives him a hint of success before he makes it?
Oh,
what was that? Because that's what happened to you.
Oh, right.
It gets a hint of like.
I'm not sure if he's talking to the king, or not. But someone mentions to the shepherd, the main guy. He says, "You usually get a taste of success before something big happens, and it's usually a while before."
Yeah, like this was like in this case, I think it was 9 months to a year or so. I don't remember what the timeline of The Alchemist was.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. A year.
But
because you've been working at that store for like,
it's like you get success, and then it's like
you get a hint of it that gets him excited,
and then it's a dry spell.
Right, and that's the actual work.
Yeah, and
the dry spell's like, let's pursue this.
When you see if you really want it bad enough.
Right, but you get a hint of it, and I believe that's what I mean. That's a cool parallel. You know what I mean? A really interesting parallel.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I've had the most auditions this year, I think.
For sure. I mean, it's been crazy. So it was that one thing that he booked. Shout out to the casting directors, man. Like, seriously. You have to say their last name, but we both know.
JJ,
like, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, if they only knew what it
crazy.
meant.
I'm sitting in the green room, and I got Supergirl, like literally right where you are.
Right beside you.
And I got one of the lead girls from Grey's Anatomy here. And it's, I don't know, it was surreal. Going to and from in an escalator. I show up to set, and it's really cold. My dad dropped me off, and I was like walking around. I'm like, I see some guy in a suit, like sprinting past me. I like stop. I'm like, where do we sign in? This guy's like, oh, it's at the tent there. And he like,
It's the guy's
runs
like,
off.
this isn't a Nintendo set.
Yeah, the guy's like, it was like serious. I was
Welcome
like,
to
I was
Netflix.
like, this is acting. I'm like, holy. So this guy, he like sprints off, God knows where. I don't even see where this guy is going. And I'm going, I see this line of like 50 people going to like a tent. I'm like, oh my God. Jeez. So I'm lying there. I'm
You're like,
shivering.
that's me.
I'm freezing. I'm like looking around at all these people. I'm like, this is serious. I was like, what's happening right now? So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the guys there, right? And they're like, so how long have you been doing like extra work for? I was like, oh no, I got lines. And he's like, oh, that's sick. And
Like a line or two?
yeah, he's like, you got a line? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's amazing. And he like sits there, and I was like, okay. And then my dad calls me. I'm like, what's up? And he goes, the AD's looking for you.
Assistant director.
And
For those that are listening.
I was like, why? He said, he just wants to know where you are. I was like, I'm at the
I'm
tent.
at the line, Dad. This is
I'm
the
in
line.
the line.
This is
So
where I'm
sitting there,
supposed to be.
And I see this AD come booking down the aisle to me. He's Max. And this Australian guy with a full beard. He's like, what are you doing here, buddy? I was like, hey, man. I'm signing in.
Has a burrito in his hand?
Yeah, no, not yet. I was like, I was like, I'm in line to sign in. He's like, no, man, he's like, your room's over there. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, no, your change room and your, what are they called? Your trailer. He's like, your trailer's right there. I walk up, it's my name on the trailer. I'm like, holy, I'm like, those were the extras. He's like, what are you doing over there, man?
Hey, buddy, you cold?
Yeah, he's like, are you a little chilly? You want a jacket? And he like calls someone comes springs with a jacket from like across the parking lot. I'm like, where did they come from? And then he's like, you hungry, eating? I was like, oh, I had like, I had a bag on the way here. And he's like, so what do you want on your breakfast burrito? I was like,
what?
I mean, whatever. He's like, I got you, man. I got you. And I remember sitting in there, and I walk in. It's like a script. I'm like, this is amazing. And I got my full wardrobe there, and I got a knock, and he comes with it. Piping hot breakfast burrito. Best thing I've ever eaten in my life. I was like, this is heaven. I'm like sitting there. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is the best experience I've ever had.
This is Christmas.
No, it was, and we shot at the Carlton. Not the
No,
Carlton.
you didn't. You shot at the Weston Bayshore, didn't you?
Something like that.
You shot at the Bayshore,
I
from
don't
what
know.
I understand. It's the
was
hotel on
Colorado.
waterfront.
Yeah, it was like the
end.
furthest.
Yeah, it's the Bayshore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where you
It
shot.
was sick.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a cool set.
They get a sprinter full of people. In my case, I was with all the stunts coordinators and stuff.
Cool guys.
Like serious guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're all talking like, yeah, I was on the Flash yesterday. I'm getting a little tired. They're like, I'm working 5 days this week. I was like,
Crazy.
I was like, what's happening right now?
Crazy.
And the sprinter just like gunning it through van to the Bayshore. And I don't know. It was one of the craziest days I've ever had.
So now let's flash back to the Starbucks thing where what's happening to like in the Sprinter.
Yeah.
In a Mercedes Sprinter.
It was definitely a change of environment.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, come on.
It was pretty sick.
Pretty crazy.
It was pretty sick.
Yeah, so
And there's people like the stunts people flying and like explosions happening.
Right.
Like, this is amazing. I'm like leading this group of people behind me. It was pretty sick.
So-
and then at the end of the day, a guy in an Escalade takes me back to the circus. And I'm like, this is, yeah. I felt like I was an entourage. I was like, this is sick.
you were an entourage.
I was an entourage for a second there.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. I always love that because just the fact that it was such a
It was literally perfect timing.
yeah. I mean,
It
that's
couldn't have been better
crazy.
timing.
And then I remember, so we were downtown and we were at the Pan Pacific at the restaurant there, and we were just going like, how did that? Because you were like, I was
Yeah.
about to give up.
Yeah, I was like, that's amazing.
I
That
was
happened.
gonna go to
Yeah.
do some random thing.
Yeah,
That's
I was
crazy.
literally going to give up.
Right.
I'm going to go to business.
Which is,
degree.
I mean, you hear this a lot in a lot of these stories. It's like, I mean, not that by any means we're where we want to be or anything like that, but still, it's a cool first thing that, like,
right.
you were about to just sort of give up.
Yeah, I was. Because I wanted to find that thing. I remember we were talking about doing real estate. We were talking about doing all this.
We had so many...
Because we just wanted to do something.
Well, it's not only that. We always felt like... I mean, at least me, I always felt like when you had the money to support yourself, you'd be enabled. Exactly. So that's why it was so many of the projects early on in this experience and this chapter, you know, at least of my life. And it just involved getting the cash flow, getting your money right, you know, so you could fund your ideas, right? Because then you wouldn't have to ask for permission to do anything. Then you can just do it yourself.
Right.
So that's sort of, I mean, and I think a lot of people fall into that where it's like, well, once I have the money, then I'll be able to do it. Or once I have this, then I'll be able to. Or once I'm good enough, then I'll be able to. There's so many things. There's so many things about like
people don't realize you're young. You can take the risks. You're young until you're 30, mind you.
Exactly.
You're young until you're 30. We're not even 20 yet.
Exactly.
We might as well take the risks. I don't want to pinhold myself to a degree yet.
Well, and I want to get into this topic because this is something everybody that I have on, I might get into this one because this is huge. And Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot. And I mean, most people talk about this a lot. But the amount of weight that people put onto other people's opinions is crazy. Especially in our generation. I mean, in the social media generation.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, I can't really...
You always said you didn't really care, which I believe.
I don't really like social media
myself.
I mean, I could see it as a platform later on once you start to get the ball rolling.
For sure.
But right now, I don't really feel the need to share.
And did you ever feel pressured from the outside world to... Did you ever let the noise get to your head? No. You didn't care.
Well, yeah. I don't know what would get to my head.
Exactly. But I think it's fair to get into...
There's definitely a lot of... I know people with a lot of pressure on them from social media.
Not only just social media, just people in general, just people's opinions.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not... Look, I mean, tell them what you're... So you were working at the mall. You weren't at school.
And mind you, a lot of those people's opinions are people's parents.
For sure.
Is that pressure?
But like, look at the situation, right? It's like, you weren't in school.
No.
You were working at the mall.
Yeah.
With no plan for anything, really.
Not really.
Nothing. I mean, there's no like thing to look forward to except that you might go to school after. And then all of a sudden, this happens. But if someone were to look at it from another, you know, perspective, they would have been like, well, Maxwell's not doing anything. And then this happens, right? So if you would have let that get to you, maybe you would have been enrolled in a program, or maybe you wouldn't have been able to do the audition. Things like that.
If I went to school,
you wouldn't have done the audition.
I wouldn't have done the audition.
And that's so easy to be like, well, everyone wants me to go to school right now, so that's crazy.
And I think that taking that break for the first semester was crucial and just finding out.
Absolutely.
Because I did go for a spring semester.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the school thing.
I went for a spring semester at UFE. And it was interesting. I did business. I took microeconomics, Biz 100, Biz 160. I took English. I took communications. I didn't learn a damn thing. I really didn't. Business-wise, maybe towards getting a degree you do, but I need to go to school for any of that, to be honest. I didn't enjoy myself. None of the people there were inspired. I felt like it was bringing me down.
Right.
I felt like it was worse for me.
Right.
At the moment.
Right. So you were going there every day. And this is, I mean, after you booked Supergirl, so you went from being, so like, okay, look, we went from being in Starbucks asking, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Because we knew we wanted to make movies and music and stuff, but it was like, that just seemed, remember we were talking about Frank Ocean at Starbucks, how he wrote himself a letter or whatever.
Yeah, he posted on his Tumblr. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about like, damn, that's going to be cool. Let's
yeah,
what's
that'd
the
be
first
cool.
step? We must get our money right or something. Like we didn't know, right? So okay, so you went from the Starbucks thing, the mall, Supergirl, and then school.
Yeah.
And you were just uninspired as hell.
Yeah, I didn't miss one audition.
Nope.
I went to 16.
Right.
Which is a lot for the beginning of the year. That's a lot of auditions.
And they were good ones.
They were good ones. They were big. To All the Boys too. There's a lot of stuff.
We did a lot of fun stuff. Yeah. We shot most of them here, so that's when we decided to.
Here.
Yeah. So we decided to start that thing where, I mean, every time we got an audition, we'd help each other with it, and we'd gym it.
Yeah, we have an acting gym.
Yeah. So basically, we put both brains together into the character and stuff and the scene, and we helped each other.
We got really good feedback because basically when I started acting again, And when I did Supergirl, it was like starting brand new. Because I had taken a break, and you can't really take breaks in acting.
Right. I took a 2-year hiatus as well. I think that's what you took.
Yeah, I did.
It was like a 2-year hiatus.
Yeah, I would go for maybe 2-3 auditions a year.
Yeah, I think last year I only did like 2 or 3.
So it was basically like starting again. So I wasn't expecting to book anything, and I didn't.
Right.
Which is, you can say it's going back to the Alchemist thing, which like the tempting.
Well, because we put so much work into the auditions after that,
Right.
but it was like what we learned
really good reputations with a lot of
the casting directors and
houses,
stuff for sure. Because I mean, they hadn't seen us in a couple of years, and I mean, I remember. I guess the last project I did was starting grade 11, and that was it. And then I was like, I'm going to focus on music at school.
But we're getting.
So that was tough because we were both like out of high school and. We had the job, the part-time job, and we're like,
just it's been the biggest pilot season, one of the biggest ever in Van this year.
It was crazy. I think I did
even right now. It's supposed to be the down season. We're still getting. I got 2 auditions today.
Right.
Emailed to me.
I just had one this morning.
I went for.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not gonna.
I don't think we should.
Oh, I could.
You could say what.
I'm not saying the name of it.
Oh, okay, good.
I went for a recurring in the Sabrina series last week.
Okay.
Like a pretty big role. I didn't think I could even audition for, because getting into the room is the hardest part.
What is it? 10%? What did we say? It was 10. I think it was like 5%.
5% of people submitted to it. So basically, a casting house. What they'll do is they'll put, it's like a Facebook post and be like, we want people for this role, and then all the agents, it's like a comment, and they'll comment people who they represent to be seen for that, and then the casting house will select people from the people submitted, and only 5% get accepted to the audition, which we didn't even realize.
We didn't know until before because we were spoiled brats when we were younger.
We thought we had.
We both booked a lot of stuff in high school, so we were kind of spoiled by that. I feel.
Yeah,
Can we say that?
I didn't even appreciate it.
No, I mean we did. You did what? 4 projects. I did 6 projects while I was in high school, and obviously, I mean, you had the savings from the project, but last thing you want to do is spend your savings on. So obviously. Just not a good idea. So yeah, so
it's like 5%.
Crazy. And I mean that buildup of like, you know what? It's gonna take a lot of no's to get here. It's gonna take 2 no's, 3 no's, 5 no's, 10 no's. I don't know, right? You don't
and like the average actor in Van doesn't book every year.
Right. No,
I mean happen.
It's not the industry to hear, oh my god, movie recording has been stopped automatically. Let's fix it. So we took a little break there. We're back. We're back on the conversation. We left off. We were talking about acting and how and what it's like to get back into it after, I guess, that hiatus, and also, I mean, off of the momentum of the last thing. But I guess it'd be cool for people that want to get into it to hear some of that. Yeah. So you were talking about the audition process, and go from there because that was cool.
Yeah, no, I've talked to a lot of people who are interested in it, but they don't want to pull the trigger.
Right.
And you just got to jump into it. It's mainly a time thing to an extent because you just got to get used to the rejection.
And people don't like that, man. People don't like
I don't like that.
Told no. I mean, I know, but some people can't handle it, period.
Yeah, you just got to develop that tough skin, you know? It's like...
Yeah. I mean, I guess so you have a lot of people that ask you about it and stuff that want to get into it.
Yeah, I've had some friends.
And it's just like... What do you think's holding them back?
They don't know if it's worth the time to do it. Because you got to drive downtown a van. Maybe they have jobs and they got to...
Yeah, it's definitely not accommodating for people.
It's not fun. It's not
the audition process isn't fun for a lot of people.
No one likes auditioning.
No one likes that.
The biggest actors hate auditioning.
But do you like it?
I don't.
I feel like... I do a little bit.
You like auditioning?
Sort of. I don't mind it. I get excited when I get one. I know you do, obviously, because of the...
Well, it's the only way, because it's so linear. You have to go to audition.
Yeah, but I think we found a way. I mean, especially because...
Well, once you start getting called to just do projects...
That's fun.
Then you hate auditioning.
Yeah, but, you know, you got to start somewhere. And, I mean, even big actors...
You can't really
still
shy
go
away
in
from
and
it.
read.
You have to do it.
I mean, you still got to go and read for parts. I mean, even if you're big... I mean, that's 100% part of it. So have you been enjoying the audition process thus far?
Yeah. No, this year's been fun.
It's been fun because it's been a lot of cool projects.
Yeah, but it's been fun compared to, like, other years.
Right, whereas before it was more like I got to miss school, I got to drive, I got to do that.
Yeah, I got to go downtown.
Plus, it never really seems like you're going to get results from it when you're doing it for that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an audition doesn't seem like it leads to a role or anything like that.
Even if what people don't understand is like I think I talked about it before. Getting called in,
Right.
you're good if you get called in.
Yeah, I mean
And then getting booked is just the prize for being the best.
right.
As long as you get in the room, you should be happy.
Yeah, your
to
agent
get in front of
said
the
that.
casting director, you should be happy about that.
100%. Because I mean, most kids aren't even getting into the room. So for kids that are starting out, it's really tough to even get seen for a lot of these roles. Because
Right.
I mean, they'll be like, there's auditions where we're going. We got one, which was like to all the boys, like the Netflix one, and it was you, me, and there were probably how many kids in the room? 12, 10?
Yeah,
Like it was nothing.
yeah. And then Ross Butler got cast.
Yeah, they cast the guy with 6.6 million followers or whatever he has.
I'm close.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So look, let's I'm going to start wrapping it up. I want to sort of hit, so we talked about the what led you to actually pursue what it is you want to pursue now,
All right.
which was sort of not don't want to call it a fluke or anything, but like a sort of a cool fortunate thing, which was,
It was
your
fortunate.
dad going, yo, let's get new headshots, and then
Right.
boom, that audition, and it was the first. I mean, did we say that was the first thing you booked?
Yeah.
That's
First
crazy.
speaking thing.
And that was the first thing you booked after you'd taken the break. Like your first audition, you booked it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So that's really cool. And then we talked about obviously going to school and dropping out. What led to you dropping out? I don't think we got into like how it was uninspiring for you, and I guess it didn't really match your
Yeah,
aspirations.
but currently I'm not in school, and
Right.
I don't see myself going in the fall semester.
Right.
With how good the acting year is going, I don't think it'll be worth it. 'cause I don't see
Necessary.
myself getting that.
Well, no. I mean, if something doesn't align with your aspirations, there's no real point in.
It was just something for me to do while I found out what I wanted to do.
Right, for sure. Okay, cool. So we covered that. We covered the school thing, covered booking the thing, and now, which is putting in the actual work for
Yeah.
the next one,
Yeah.
which has been several months of pure
Was just
sweat,
dealing with
equity.
school. I took 5 classes during school too,
Right. No, that was crazy. Yeah,
While I
that's
was-
right.
doing auditions.
So when we were doing that stuff, you had school too, and there were time, but you didn't miss any auditions.
No,
I don't believe you missed one.
I didn't miss one. I had 16.
There you go. So the people who say they don't have time to do what they want to do, especially at this age, very, very seldom is that justified, right? I mean, do you think when people go, well, I don't have time?
Well, you can never find time. You just have to make it.
100%.
Right? So
100%.
I think if you want something bad enough, you'll do anything to do it.
For sure. And clearly it was something that you wanted to pursue, and it currently is as well. So cool. I think we'll end it there, man. Thank you so much for hopping on the
Oh,
first
thank you
episode
for
here.
having me.
I think it was a super fun conversation.
Yeah.
To everyone that listened to it, if you guys made it to the end of this, that's amazing. Thank you so much for
astounding.
listening. To our friends that are watching this, people we went to school with, we hope you're doing well. I think it's been a learning experience for all of us, especially after graduating. After grade 12, I think everybody was probably going through a huge change. And
Yeah. It was like a crisis.
you know what I mean? So I think I would just want to say I hope everybody's doing super well. I hope everyone's doing what they love to do. And like I said to everybody that's watching, whether it's 3 people or 300 people or 30 people, we hope you enjoyed this. And
Yeah.
we're just doing these for really for people to listen to and enjoy. And maybe if they can relate to anything, then great. So yeah, thank you for listening to the Community Talks episode 1 with Maxwell VanVolkingburgh. We'll end it right there, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank
Sick.
you.